Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Storyworthy. Today on the show, actor, director, and author Stewart J. Zully talks about working at Yankee Stadium for 40 years.
I worked in Yankee Stadium for 40 years. At that time, I had worked there for 25 years, and never did I have an experience like this. This was the night that they won the championship. That night, if your listeners remember, Wade Boggs got on a policeman's horse and rode around the field. I mean, it was so celebratory. It was insane. It was, New Year's Eve times 10. And then here I was with a bunch of cops running around the field.
Today on the show, actor, director, and author Stewart J. Zully talks about working at Yankee Stadium for 40 years. Stay close.
Hey, my name is Stewart J. Zully, and you're listening to Storyworthy.
Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime listener of the show of over 13 years, yes, that's right, 13 years, or you are a new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. I sure hope you guys enjoyed the story last week with comedy writer Mike Reiss. And when I say comedy writer, I mean that he wrote for The Simpsons, and he still writes for The Simpsons for over 30 years. So the guy really has a lot of wit, and you're going to love his story about... Well, he talks about traveling, and he talks about writing, and he talks about his podcast, What Am I Doing Here? But the story is about the fact that his book, a children's book, and he's written over 20, this particular children's book got banned in not only Texas, but Massachusetts and Iowa. And the reason turns out to be dumber and weirder than you can even imagine. So go back, you guys. Listen to comedy writer and traveler. He travels all over the world. Mike Reiss. You're going to love that story. But today, stick with me, because today I have another very interesting person on the show. He's an actor and also a writer and a director. So he's been in Hollywood for a long, long time. And he has been in over 100 films and television shows. I mean, this guy, Stewart Zully, has done a lot. And prior to working in Hollywood, he worked at Yankee Stadium for 40 years. And he worked as a vendor selling popcorn, etc. And he worked at over 2,500 events. 2,500 events. So Stewart's got a great story coming up in just a second. You're going to love it. But before the story, remember that we're playing Story Smash, the storytelling game show, on Saturday, September 23rd at the Lyric Hyperion. If you're in Los Angeles, you can't miss it. It's only $15. StorySmashShow.com. That's where you get your tickets. And remember, Blanca Patch, Danny Zucker, and Wendy McClendon Covey will be there. That's right, the star of The Goldbergs that just ran for 10 full years on ABC. Wendy will be there. So it's going to be a great show. Get your tickets now, StorySmashShow.com. And don't forget to listen to My Life in 3 Songs. That's my other podcast that's exclusively on Spotify, because we listen to music. And of course, we don't want to steal music, right? So go over, you guys. I've had on Patton Oswalt recently and Jimmy Pardo, Jamie Kennedy, Judy Gold, Greg Proops, Greg Fitzsimmons. I mean, I've had on so many wonderful comedians, 24 to be exact, and more people are in the queue. So check out my lifein3songs.com and it will tell you all about it. All right, you guys, coming up right now is Stewart J. Zully. What a great guy. He wrote a book called My Life in Yankee Stadium, 40 Years as a Vendor and Other Tales of Growing Up Almost Sane. And this book is really a fast read. You can find it at Stewart's website, stewartjzully.com. And also, you guys, I know you've seen him before. You'll see. He's kind of like a character actor. And he's been seen in a lot of movies with like Denzel Washington and Jack Nicholson and Bette Midler, Morgan Freeman. I mean, this guy has really worked a long, long time. And he's super interesting as well. So please, wherever you are, you guys, put your hands together for Stewart J. Zully.
As we heard, yes, I sold beer, I sold peanuts, I sold even egg rolls back in the day, pizza. And there were a few years where I sold souvenirs in the stands with those big foam fingers that get in everybody's way. And then I also had a souvenir stand. So that would be when you'd be roaming the hallways, and then every so often, periodically, you'd see somebody that had the T-shirts hanging and everything else. And that was me. I may have sold you a shirt. So in 1996, which is 25 years ago, that's when the Yankees started a bit of a championship run. And they won 4 out of 5 championships. That was when Derek Jeter actually was a rookie, I believe, in 1996. And that was Joe Torre and all those great Yankees. And so I had a souvenir stand. Didn't see any of the game, of course. I was so busy that I actually took in that night $23,000.
Oh, my God.
Yes, $23,000 in cash. I talk about that in the book, that over the years, I've handled $4 million in cash, which is insane. But anyway, so during the course of the game, I'm wrapping my money in bundles of 1,000, big bulging, but, my pockets were bulging. And it was just nonstop. Well, they won that night. That was game 6 of that series against Atlanta. And I finished up about 11:30. And when it's the last game, not only do you have to turn in your money, but you also have to turn in your stock. That's it. Whereas if there's a game tomorrow, you just carry over till the next day. And then when the homestand is done, then you do your whole inventory. But because it was the last game, I had to turn in every little T-shirt, every little baseball, every little keychain, all that stuff. And I didn't finish until 3 a.m, the night that they won that first championship in 1996. So when I left, I was with a buddy of mine. There's a police station in Yankee Stadium, to handle police matters. And I walked by there and I knew some of the cops. They were already having a beer. So they had a keg out. They were celebrating that the Yanks won this championship. So I had a drink with them. And then my buddy and we started to walk through the halls to exit to get to our car at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then we passed this doorway. And I said to my buddy, hey, I think this goes to the dugout. Let's go. So we go down this little hallway and go down some steps, come up some steps, and we are in the Yankee dugout in an empty Yankee Stadium, which was incredible.
Now, there's no lights on or there's lights on? Wait.
A little bit of lights because they started to clean up the seats, so they get some people with brooms and they're cleaning, the maintenance people and stuff. But there was no security. I said in the book, it was like somebody left the keys to Yankee Stadium on the pitcher's mound, you know. And so we went there. And I happened that night to bring a cigar with me just in case the Yanks won. I figured I'd have a celebratory cigar. So I started to smoke it in the dugout right there where Joe Torre and Don Zimmer had sat during this game. So we're sitting there, and then out of the darkness, we see a guy walking towards us, and I'm thinking, as usual, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, right.
That's the first thing you always think, especially when you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. So Lonnie says, hey, we're sorry, we were just leaving, something like that. Great game. This little guy comes out. He's got a drink in his hand, and he goes, some fucking game, huh? It turns out it was George Steinbrenner's ex-chauffeur. I thought it was security, but
what was he doing?
He was just hanging out, He had his drinks, and he still had one in his hand. So that gave us license to hang out. We started to run the bases.
Oh my gosh.
And then the cops started to come out onto the field who had a few beers, and they're running around and gallivanting. Everybody was like we were all 4 years old at Yankee Stadium. So I go back into the dugout, and the phone in the dugout rings. There, and it's hooked up to the bullpen when the manager wants to call out to the bullpen to get somebody warmed up. So again, the phone rings, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm in trouble again. I pick up the phone. I go, hello? And,
Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. And on the other end, the guy says, do you want the righty or the lefty? And it was a cop out in the bullpen. He was horsing around.
Amazing.
And I said, yeah. And I go, bring in the righty. And then out of the bullpen, some fat cop comes jogging in, pretending to be the relief pitcher. And he comes out onto the field, and he's horsing around. And it was just incredible. I mean, I worked in Yankee Stadium for 40 years. At that time, I had worked there for 25 years, and never did I have an experience like this. This was the night that they won the championship. That night, if your listeners remember, Wade Boggs got on a policeman's horse and rode around the field. I mean, it was so celebratory. It was insane. It was, New Year's Eve times 10. And then here I was with a bunch of cops running around the field. It was just, it was special. It was special.
It truly sounds like a magical night. Good story, right? I mean, what an interesting person. I always sort of wondered about vendors. I mean, not so much what they do, because I get that, but like their schedules and how they switch off, and how, Coke is, like beer is most popular, then Coke, then popcorn or whatever. So that was a great story. Thank you so much for listening. And don't forget, you can always follow me and Storyworthy over at Storyworthy on Insta and Twitter. I know it's called X. I'm going to call it Twitter there. And also check out the other websites I have, like ChristineBlackburn.com. How about MyLifeIn3Songs.com or StorySmashShow.com. That's right, I have 4 websites. What is happening? Hey, maybe I should just have one. No, I have 4, and you're going to like every one. All right, you guys, on behalf of the very talented Stewart J. Zully, my name is Christine Blackburn saying, make it a story-worthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.